My parents ditched me during my surgery to attend my sister's party, so I cut them off. Months later, they expected me to show up at her wedding. I was 23 years old, lying on a gurney, the sterile scent of disinfectant thick with my own fear. My body was about to be cut open, potentially for cancer, and the two people who swore they'd be there for me were about to choose a party instead. The betrayal was a physical blow, even before I knew it was coming. Main story, the hospital room itself smelled like fear that day, or maybe that was just me. My surgery was scheduled for 2:30 p.m., and I was counting every agonizing tick of the clock. This wasn't some minor procedure. The ovarian cyst had grown to the size of a grapefruit, and my gynecologist had stopped using the word routine after the last ultrasound. There was talk of possible cancer, of losing an ovary, things that made my hands shake so hard I could barely sign the consent forms. My parents, both of them, had promised they'd be there. Dad had held my hand just 2 weeks earlier during the consultation, his face a grave mask as Dr. Morrison explained the risks. Mom had called me every single day since, asking if I needed anything, reassuring me she'd take the entire week off work to care for me. My older sister, Vanessa, though, she'd send a brief text. Good luck with the surgery. Hope it goes well. That, I realize now, should have been my first chilling clue about where I truly ranked in my family's world. At 1:45 p.m., a kind nurse bustled in, checking my vitals and reviewing my charts. Your family should be here soon if they want to see you before we take you back, she smiled gently. I tried to nod, but my throat felt too tight, too dry to speak. My phone was clutched in my hand, a lifeline I kept refreshing, staring at an empty inbox. Nothing. Then, at 2:15 p.m., pure panic started to set in. I called Dad. It rang 4 times, then voicemail. I called Mom. Same thing. My heart started to pound, a frantic drumbeat that had absolutely nothing to do with pre-surgery nerves. I texted both of them, a desperate plea. Where are you? They're taking me back in 15 minutes. The reply came from Mom just 8 minutes before they were meant to will me away. Sweetie, we're so sorry. Vanessa's engagement party got moved to today at the last minute. The venue had a cancellation, and this was the only date available for months. We're already here, and everyone's asking about us. We'll call you as soon as you're out of recovery. Love you. I read the message once, then again, and again. The words didn't change. The anesthesiologist appeared in the doorway, a calm, friendly face I barely registered. I heard myself say, I'm ready, even though I wasn't. Not ready at all. In that moment, I wasn't a 23-year-old woman facing major surgery. I was a little girl, forgotten at school pickup, completely alone. The nurse squeezed my shoulder, her eyes full of pity, as they wheeled me down the hallway. Do you want us to wait? She asked. Give your family a few more minutes? They're not coming, I whispered, my voice sounding hollow, like it was coming from underwater. Let's just get this over with. The last thing I remembered before the anesthesia took hold was her sympathetic expression and the crushing thought that Vanessa's surprise engagement party was, quite literally, more important than whether I lived or died. I woke up alone. The recovery room was a blur of other patients, their families clustered around beds, holding hands, murmuring relieved words. I turned my head, searching, hoping, but the chair next to me was empty. The nurse told me the surgery had gone well. They'd removed the cyst. No cancer. I'd keep both ovaries. Good news. Great news. I nodded, trying to force a smile, even as pain radiated through my abdomen. And I blinked back tears that had absolutely nothing to do with the incision. My phone, when I finally managed to pick it up, had 7 messages. 3 were from Vanessa, full of photos from her party. She looked beautiful in a cream-colored dress, surrounded by beaming friends and extended family. My parents were there too. I saw them in several shots, smiling, raising champagne glasses. The timestamps showed they'd been sent during my surgery. While I was unconscious on an operating table, they were toasting my sister's happiness. One message was from Mom. Hope everything went well. We'll come by tomorrow to check on you. One from Dad. Your mother tells me the surgery was successful. That's wonderful news. We'll talk soon. 2 were from my best friend, Jessica, asking for updates and saying she'd come get me if I needed a ride home. I texted Jessica. She arrived 45 minutes later, her face darkening with every word as I explained why I was alone. Are you kidding me? She kept saying, over and over. Are you actually kidding me right now? The discharge nurse went over my post-op instructions, glancing awkwardly at the empty doorway where my parents should have been standing. Jessica took notes, asked intelligent questions about pain medication and infection signs, basically doing everything my mother should have done. We stopped at the pharmacy, and she helped me up the stairs to my apartment, got me settled on the couch with water and crackers, and stayed until 11 p.m., making sure I was okay. Mom called the next morning at 9 o'clock. I was sitting on my couch, moving gingerly, feeling the pull of stitches with every breath. Hi, honey. How are you feeling? We're so sorry we couldn't make it yesterday. Vanessa's party was just absolute chaos. My voice came out flat, devoid of emotion. You promised you'd be there. I know, sweetie, but this venue opportunity came up out of nowhere. You understand, right? These things are so hard to book. And you're fine. The surgery went well. That's what matters. Something cold settled in my chest. I was alone. Mom, I woke up alone. Oh, honey, don't be dramatic. You're 23 years old, not a child. Besides, Jessica was there, wasn't she? Jessica came after. I countered, the words tight, because I called her because my parents were at a party. It wasn't just a party. It was your sister's engagement celebration. This is a really important time for Vanessa. She needs family support right now. And I didn't. The words came out sharper than I'd intended. I didn't need family support while I was being cut open and checked for cancer. Mom's voice took on that familiar edge of impatience. Now you're just being selfish. Vanessa has been planning her future, and this was a big moment for her. Your surgery was routine. It wasn't routine. There were complications. They thought it might be cancer, but it wasn't cancer. See, everything worked out fine. I don't understand why you're making such a big deal out of this. I closed my eyes. The pain medication was wearing off, and everything hurt. I need to go. We'll come by later this week to see you, Mom said brightly, as if the conversation had gone completely differently. Maybe Friday. Don't bother. I hung up before she could respond. Midway subscribe line. By the way, if you're still with me, still shaking your head at this whole mess, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll find more stories like mine. Unbelievable but true, right here. Main story continued. Dad called 20 minutes later. His approach was different, softer, but the message was exactly the same. Your mother is upset. She thinks you're angry at us. I am angry at you. He sighed, the sound heavy with disappointment. Look, I understand you're hurt, but family means making sacrifices sometimes. Vanessa's engagement is a milestone. Your surgery was necessary, but ultimately successful. Try to see the bigger picture here. The bigger picture, I retorted, is that you chose a party over your daughter's surgery. That's not fair. We didn't choose anything. The timing was unfortunate. You could have left the party. You could have come to the hospital after. You didn't even call until the next morning. We didn't want to bother you while you were recovering, he said, as if that made perfect sense. Listen, your mother and I have always tried to be fair between you and your sister. Fair. The word burst out of me like a dam breaking. You think this is fair? Don't take that tone with me. We're still your parents. We deserve respect. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound even to my own ears. You're right. You're my parents. That's exactly why this hurts so much. You're being overdramatic about this entire situation. It was one day, one event. You're going to throw away your relationship with your family over one misunderstanding. Is that what you think this is? A misunderstanding? His voice hardened. I think you're feeling sorry for yourself and lashing out at the people who have supported you your entire life. When you're ready to apologize and act like an adult, we'll be here. He hung up. I sat there, phone still in my hand, feeling like I'd been slapped. They actually expected an apology from me. Vanessa called that evening. Mom says you're mad at her.
Did she tell you why?
Something about her missing your surgery. Look, I know the timing was bad, but it wasn't my fault the venue moved things around. You can't seriously be upset about this. The casualness in her voice made something snap inside me. You're right. I can't seriously be upset that our parents abandoned me at the hospital to go to your party. That would be unreasonable. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. They didn't abandon you. They made a choice about where they were needed more. And they needed to be at your engagement party more than at my surgery?
Yes.
Actually, this is my engagement. It's one of the most important moments of my life. Your surgery was just a medical procedure. Just a medical procedure? I repeated slowly, the words heavy with disbelief. Vanessa, they thought I might have cancer, but you don't. So, everything's fine. Why are you trying to make my engagement about you? I wanted to scream. Instead, I said very quietly, congratulations on your engagement. I hope you have a beautiful wedding. Does that mean you're not mad anymore? It means I'm done with this conversation. I blocked all three of them after that. Mom, Dad, Vanessa. Their numbers, their social media, everything. Jessica came over with Thai food and ice cream, and I told her what had happened. She looked at me for a long moment, then simply said, "Good. You deserve better than that." The first week of no contact was hard. I kept reaching for my phone to call Mom. Then remembering, I'd spent 23 years training myself to need her approval, to seek her comfort. Breaking that habit felt like breaking a bone. But I was also angry, angrier than I'd ever been. Every time the anger started to fade, I'd remember waking up alone in that recovery room, and it would come flooding back, fresh and raw. My Aunt Lorraine, Mom's younger sister, called me 2 weeks after the surgery. I'd forgotten I hadn't blocked her number. "Your mother is beside herself," she said without preamble. "She doesn't understand why you won't talk to her." "Did she tell you what happened?" "She said there was a scheduling conflict, and you overreacted." I laughed humorlessly. "A scheduling conflict? Is that what we're calling it? What else would you call it?"
So I told her everything.
The surgery, the cancer scare, the empty recovery room, the engagement party photos timestamped during my operation. All of it. When I finished, there was a long silence on the other end. "Oh," Lorraine said finally, her voice hushed. She made it sound much less serious. "I'm sure she did." Another pause. "That was wrong of them," Lorraine stated, her voice firm. "You know that, right? What they did was wrong." Something in my chest loosened slightly. "Thank you for saying that." "Have they apologized?" "They think I should apologize to them for being upset." "Jesus Christ," Lorraine muttered. "Your mother has always had a blind spot when it comes to Vanessa, but this is beyond the pale." She took a breath. "For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. Don't let them guilt you into pretending this didn't matter." We talked for another hour. She told me things I'd half known but never let myself acknowledge fully. How Vanessa had always been the favorite, how I'd been the easy child who didn't make demands, how Mom and Dad had taken advantage of that for years. It hurt to hear, but it also helped. Validation, I was learning, was its own kind of medicine. I threw myself into work, a graphic designer for a small marketing firm. I took on every project I could get. My boss noticed the change in my output and gave me a raise. I went to therapy. I spent time with friends who actually showed up when they said they would. I learned how to be alone without feeling lonely. Slowly, carefully, I built a life that didn't revolve around waiting for my family to notice me. 3 months passed. I changed my emergency contacts at work and on my medical forms. I removed my parents from my apartment lease guarantors and co-signed with Jessica instead. I started dating a guy named Tyler who worked in IT and thought I was funny and never once made me feel like I was too much or not enough. Small steps toward autonomy. Then, the wedding invitation arrived. It showed up in my mailbox on a Tuesday afternoon, cream-colored and expensive-looking. "Vanessa Hartley and Brandon Wright request the honor of your presence at their wedding." The date was 3 months away. There was a handwritten note paper-clipped to the invitation, in Mom's distinctive script. "We know you'll want to be there for your sister on her special day. Let's put this unpleasantness behind us. Love, Mom." I stared at it for a full minute. The audacity was almost impressive. 4 months of silence, not a single apology, and now they expected me to show up at Vanessa's wedding like nothing had happened. Like I was supposed to be grateful for the invitation. I called Jessica. "You're not seriously considering going," she said immediately. "No, but I'm trying to figure out how to respond. Personally, I think silence is a perfectly valid response." That feels passive-aggressive. As opposed to their active-aggressive behavior of abandoning you during surgery? She had a point, but I couldn't let it go. 4 months of anger had crystallized into something harder, colder. I wanted them to understand exactly what they'd done, and I wanted it in writing. I spent a week crafting my response. I went through 7 drafts, deleted entire paragraphs, added them back. Tyler read it and said, "Damn, are you sure about this?" I was sure. The final version was 2 pages long. I printed it on good paper and mailed it to my parents' house, where I knew Vanessa still lived while planning the wedding. "Dear Mom, Dad, and Vanessa, thank you for the wedding invitation. I'm writing to let you know that I won't be attending. For months ago, I had surgery. It wasn't minor. The doctors found a grapefruit-sized ovarian cyst with concerning characteristics that required immediate removal. There was significant discussion about possible cancer. I was terrified. You knew this because you were at the consultation appointment where Dr. Morrison explained all of it. You promised you'd be there.
Both of you.
You promised. Instead, you went to an engagement party. Not the actual engagement. Vanessa had been engaged for 6 weeks at that point. A party, a celebration that could have happened any day at any time, but happened to be scheduled on the same day as my surgery. I went into surgery alone. I woke up alone. I spent the recovery period alone until my friend Jessica came to pick me up and do all the things my parents should have done. Collect my medication, help me home, make sure I didn't die in the night from complications. The hospital staff pitied me. The nurses kept glancing at the empty chair next to my bed. The discharge coordinator looked uncomfortable going over post-op instructions with just Jessica and me there. I saw it in their faces. The unspoken question of what kind of parents don't show up for their daughter's surgery. I know what kind now. When I expressed how hurt I was, none of you apologized. Mom told me I was being dramatic and selfish. Dad said I was overdramatic and needed to apologize for being disrespectful. Vanessa said my surgery was just a medical procedure, and I was trying to make her engagement about me. Let me be very clear. I am not making anything about me. I am simply removing myself from the equation entirely. You made your priorities clear that day. Vanessa's party mattered more than my health, my safety, my life. I understand where I rank in this family now, and I'm choosing not to accept that position anymore. I don't want to be the daughter you remember when it's convenient, the sister you invite when you need numbers at a wedding. I don't want relationships based on obligation and guilt. I deserve better than that. So, no, I won't be attending the wedding. I won't be attending any future family events. I'm done waiting for you to care about me the way I've always cared about you. I wish Vanessa and Brandon happiness in their marriage. I genuinely do, but I won't be there to witness it.
Don't contact me again.
Any future attempts at communication will be ignored. Regards, your daughter and sister. I mailed it on a Friday. The fallout started by Monday morning. Lorraine called first. Holy expletive, she said. Your mother called me crying. She showed me the letter. I told her she deserved every word of it. How bad is it? She's telling everyone you've had a mental breakdown and cut off the family for no reason. Your father is refusing to talk about it at all. Vanessa is apparently furious that you're trying to ruin her wedding. Of course she is. There's more. Your mother posted something on Facebook about how painful it is when your children turn on you. Really vague, but obviously about you. She's getting a lot of sympathy in the comments. My stomach twisted. What did she say exactly? Something about how she and your father sacrificed everything for their children, and now one of them won't even speak to them. How she's heartbroken and doesn't understand what she did wrong.
Very martyr-like.
She's painting herself as the victim. That's exactly what she's doing. Do you want me to say something? Set the record straight. I considered it.
No.
Let her have her Facebook sympathy. The people who matter know the truth. But it gnawed at me anyway. The idea that my parents were out there telling a completely different story, one where they were the wounded parties and I was the unreasonable daughter who'd cut them off over nothing. It shouldn't have mattered. I'd made my choice. I stood by it, but it still hurt. Tyler found me crying that night and held me while I explained. They're never going to see what they did wrong, he said quietly. They're never going to apologize or acknowledge it or even understand it. You know that, right? I know. I just wish they would. You can't make them be the parents you deserve. You can only decide how much of your life you're willing to give to people who don't value it. He was right. That didn't make it easier. But he was right. The wedding happened 3 months later. I spent that Saturday at the botanical gardens with Tyler, looking at flowers, eating overpriced sandwiches, and pointedly not thinking about what my family was doing. Jessica texted me a photo of her and her boyfriend at a brewery. Cheers to you for standing your ground, the caption said. I sent back a heart emoji and tried to mean it. Lorraine called me that evening. Your mother is telling everyone you're mentally unstable and needed professional help. She's saying they tried everything to reach you, but you refused all contact. She's acting like she's the grieving mother whose daughter disappeared. Did anyone ask why I disappeared? A few people. She just gets teary and says it's too painful to talk about. Very convenient. I close my eyes. Let her tell whatever story she needs to tell. She's also talking about how heartbroken Vanessa is that you weren't there. How you've ruined one of the most important days of her life with your absence. My absence ruined her wedding? I laughed, but it came out sharp. She had 200 people there. She didn't need me. That's what I said. But your mother has a gift for making everything a tragedy. 2 more months passed. I got promoted at work. Tyler and I moved in together. Jessica got engaged and asked me to be her maid of honor. I started taking pottery classes on Wednesdays. My life was full and good and completely separate from my family of origin. Then Mom showed up at my office. My coworker Sarah came to my desk looking uncomfortable. There's a woman in the lobby asking for you. Says she's your mother. My heart dropped into my stomach. Tell her I'm not available. I tried that. She says she'll wait as long as it takes. I called building security, explained the situation, and asked them to remove her. They said unless she was causing a disturbance, they couldn't do anything. I called Tyler. He offered to come down immediately, but I told him I'd handle it. I went downstairs. Mom was sitting in the lobby in her expensive coat, clutching her purse, looking like the picture of maternal suffering. When she saw me, her face lit up. Sweetheart, finally. I've been trying to reach you for months. Asked you not to contact me. I'm your mother. I have a right to see my daughter. No, actually you don't. Please leave. Her expression crumpled.
She was always good at that.
The instant tears, the wounded look. How can you be so cruel? I raised you. I loved you. Accept what I actually needed when it mattered. This is about the surgery, isn't it? You're still holding on to that. It was 8 months ago. You need to let it go and forgive me. I don't need to do anything. What I need is for you to leave my workplace and respect the boundaries I've set. Boundaries? She spat the word like it was poison. That's what your therapist told you to say, isn't it? Turn you against your own family with all this psychology nonsense. My therapist helped me see that I was accepting treatment I didn't deserve. That's not turning me against you. That's helping me protect myself from my own mother. That's insane. You abandoned me during surgery to go to a party. That's insane. I didn't abandon you. It was one day, one event, and you're going to punish me for it forever. People in the lobby were starting to stare. I lowered my voice. I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. I want my daughter back, Mom said, and the tears were streaming now. Real ones, I thought. She genuinely didn't understand. I want my family back. Vanessa is heartbroken. Your father won't even say your name anymore. You've destroyed us. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped pretending it wasn't already broken. Please, she whispered. Please, what do you want from me? I'll do anything. For one brief, painful moment, I almost believed her. Then I remembered the engagement party photos, the empty chair in recovery, the voicemail from Dad saying I needed to apologize. All of it. I wanted you to be there, I said quietly. That's all I ever wanted, for you to be there when I needed you. And you weren't. I'm here now. 8 months too late. I walked away. She called after me, but I didn't turn around. Security finally escorted her out when she tried to follow me to the elevators. I went back to my desk and sat there shaking for 20 minutes before I could focus on work again. Tyler came home that night with wine and Thai food and let me cry it out on the couch. Do you think I'm being too harsh? I asked. No, he said, holding me close. I think you're being exactly as harsh as you need to be. She looked so sad. She looked sad because she's facing consequences for the first time. That's not your responsibility to fix. I just keep thinking, what if I regret this? What if someday I wish I'd given them another chance? He was quiet for a moment. Do you want to give them another chance? I thought about it.
Really thought about it.
No, I said finally. I just wish I didn't have to make this choice at all. I wish they were different people. I know, babe. I know. A month later, Dad tried. He sent a letter to my apartment. Vanessa must have gotten the address somehow, probably by following me from work one day or asking around. The letter was typed, formal, completely lacking in emotion. We need to discuss this situation like adults. Your mother is suffering from anxiety and depression because of your absence from the family. Vanessa's marriage is being affected by the stress. I'm requesting that you attend family counseling with us to resolve this issue. We've done nothing to deserve this treatment, and your continued silence is manipulative and harmful. Reply by the end of the month. I took a photo of the letter and sent it to my therapist. Her response was immediate. Notice how it's all about their feelings and what they need from you. Nothing about what they did or how it affected you. This is not an apology. This is a demand. I didn't reply. The end of the month came and went. 3 weeks later, Vanessa sent an email to my work address. She must have found it on LinkedIn or the company website. The subject line was, seriously? The body read, Mom and Dad are a mess because of you. Do you even care? You've always been selfish, but this is a new low. You're tearing this family apart over one stupid misunderstanding. Brandon thinks you're insane, by the way. His family thinks it's crazy that you won't even talk to your own parents. You're making us all look bad. Grow up and get over yourself. Not everything is about you. I forwarded it to Lorraine without comment. She called me immediately. What a little brat. I'm furious. She really thinks I'm in the wrong. She's 26 years old, and she's never been told no in her entire life. Of course, she thinks you're wrong. You're not centering her anymore. Should I respond? Absolutely not. She wants engagement. Don't give it to her. I blocked Vanessa's email, too. I was getting good at cutting people off. I realized I wasn't sure if that was healthy or sad or just necessary. Year 2 began. I stopped counting the months. I'd been no contact. It just became my new normal. Life without parents, life without a sister, life with chosen family instead of biological obligation. Jessica got married, and I cried happy tears as her maid of honor. Tyler's parents invited me to Thanksgiving and treated me like I'd always been part of their family. My pottery got good enough that I sold a few pieces at a local craft fair. Small victories. 18 months after I cut contact, Lorraine called with news. Your mother is sick. Actually sick, not attention-seeking sick. She's been diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She starts treatment next month. My chest tightened. How bad is it? Treatable, according to your father. Good prognosis with chemo and radiation. But she's scared. Why are you telling me? Because you deserve to know. And because your father asked me to tell you, she said.
She paused.
He said, maybe this will make you realize what's important. I laughed bitterly. So, even her cancer is somehow supposed to be about teaching me a lesson? That's what I said. He didn't take it well. I'm sorry she's sick. I genuinely am, but that doesn't change what happened. I know. I told them not to expect you to come running back, but I thought you should know anyway. I sat with the news for days, turned it over in my mind like a stone, looking for sharp edges. Mom had cancer. Treatable cancer, but cancer nonetheless. I tried to feel something beyond the distant sympathy I'd feel for any acquaintance facing illness. The guilt I'd been waiting for didn't come. Instead, I felt nothing. A careful, constructed nothing that protected me from caring too much about people who had never cared enough about me. Tyler asked if I wanted to reach out. I said no. My therapist asked if I felt conflicted. I said no. Jessica asked if I was okay. I said yes, and I meant it. About 5 months into Mom's treatment, Vanessa called Lorraine in tears. Apparently, Mom and Dad were redoing their estate planning. Vanessa told Lorraine they'd removed me from the will entirely, giving everything to her instead. They'd also removed me as backup executor and medical power of attorney. Vanessa seemed to think this was some kind of victory, proof that I'd been officially disowned. Lorraine told me about it with disgust in her voice. Did you know about this? I asked Lorraine. Just found out. Vanessa told me. Apparently, she's thrilled about it. Your mother wanted everyone in the family to know. She's been calling relatives to tell them. I don't care about the money. I know you don't, but she thinks you do. She thinks this will bring you crawling back, apologizing and begging. She really doesn't know me at all, does she? No, honey. I don't think she ever did. I told Tyler about the will that night. He looked at me carefully. How are you feeling? Relieved, actually. This is it. The final thread cut. They can't hold anything over me anymore. You're sure? I'm sure. He hugged me, and I let myself cry a little. Not for what I was losing. I'd already lost that. For what I'd never had in the first place. 6 months passed. Mom's treatment was apparently going well. According to Lorraine's updates, Vanessa was pregnant, also from Lorraine, via a Facebook announcement I hadn't been tagged in. Dad had retired early. Life went on in their world without me, just as it went. On in mine without them. Then I got a call from an unknown number. Usually I didn't answer those, but something made me pick up. Hello.
Hi.
Is this? A young woman's voice, hesitant. Is this the daughter of Thomas and Patricia? My parents' names. My stomach dropped. Who is this? My name is Emma Bradley. I'm a social worker at Riverside Hospital. Your mother had you listed as one of her emergency contacts in her patient file from a previous visit. We're calling everyone we have on file. That's a mistake. I haven't been her emergency contact in over 2 years. Try my sister Vanessa. We did. She's not answering. Your mother is asking for you specifically. She's had a complication from her chemotherapy, and she's asking to see you before she goes into surgery. The irony was so perfect it almost made me laugh. Almost. I'm not available. I understand this might be difficult, but she's very insistent. She says she needs to talk to you. I'm sorry, but no. Try my Aunt Lorraine Hartley. She'll come. Your mother specifically said she needs you. Not your aunt, not your sister. Then my mother is going to be disappointed. I'm not coming. There was a pause. Ma'am, I don't want to overstep, but this could be serious. If something happens during the surgery, then something happens. That's not my responsibility anymore. I'm very sorry, but you need to respect my decision. Do not call this number again. I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking. Tyler came into the room, took one look at my face, and wrapped his arms around me. Hospital, he asked quietly. She wanted me there. Complication from chemo. Going into surgery. The social worker said she was asking for me specifically. What did you say? I said no. He held me tighter. Good. Is it good? What if something happens? What if she dies, and my last words to her were through a hospital social worker? Then that's the consequence of her choices, not yours. You don't owe her a deathbed reconciliation just because she's sick. Everyone's going to hate me. Vanessa, Dad, the whole family. They'll say I let her die alone. She's not alone. She has a husband and another daughter. You're not responsible for her emotional support, especially not after everything. I knew he was right, but the guilt was there anyway, pressing on my chest like a weight. The conditioning of 23 years doesn't disappear just because you understand it's wrong. Lorraine called an hour later. The hospital reached you. Yeah. You didn't go.
No. Good. She sighed.
For what it's worth, your mother is fine. The complication was minor. They did a quick procedure, and she's already back in her room. Vanessa finally showed up, and your father was there within 20 minutes of them calling him. She wasn't alone. Why did she ask for me specifically? Because she wanted to see if you'd come running. If she could use her illness to manipulate you back into the family. When the social worker told her you refused, she apparently said, I knew she was heartless. The words hit harder than they should have. She called me heartless.
She did.
right before she called Vanessa and complained about what a terrible daughter you are. The nurses heard everything. One of them, this is secondhand from a friend who works in that department, one of them apparently said to a colleague that she'd never seen such a dysfunctional family dynamic. Great. Now hospital staff think I'm awful, too. Actually, the nurse said she felt bad for you. Said your mother seemed like a piece of work. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, I did both. 2 years became 3, then 4. My life filled up with things that had nothing to do with my family of origin. Tyler and I got engaged. I started my own graphic design business. Jessica had a baby and asked me to be godmother. I took a pottery intensive and got good enough to teach beginner classes. I went to therapy twice a month and learned how to set boundaries without guilt. Slowly, painfully, I became a person who didn't need her parents' approval to feel whole. Lorraine kept me updated in occasional phone calls. Mom's cancer went into remission. Vanessa had her baby, a boy named Jack. Dad sold the family house and moved to Florida. Life events that should have involved me but didn't. I felt the absence sometimes, a phantom limb ache, but mostly I felt free. The final contact came on my 29th birthday. A card arrived in the mail, forwarded from my old address. Inside was a gift card to a restaurant I'd mentioned liking when I was 19 and a note in Mom's handwriting. Happy birthday. We miss you. When you're ready to apologize and be part of this family again, we'll be waiting. Love, Mom. I stared at it for a long time. When you're ready to apologize. After 6 years, that's what it came down to. They still thought I was the one who needed to apologize. They still thought they'd done nothing wrong. They were still waiting for me to break, to cave, to come crawling back. I took a photo of the card and texted it to Lorraine. Her response was immediate. Are you expletive kidding me? 6 years, and she still doesn't get it. I typed back. She never will. They're fundamentally incapable of seeing themselves as wrong in this. I'm sorry. I threw the card away. The gift card, too. Tyler asked if I wanted to do something to mark the occasion. Some kind of ritual closure. I said no. There was nothing to close. The door had been shut for years. This was just the sound of someone still knocking on the other side, refusing to accept that no one was going to answer. My 29th birthday party was small and perfect. Tyler's family, Jessica and her husband, a few close friends from work, and Lorraine. We ate cake and drank wine. And no one asked about my parents, because everyone there already knew the story. No one suggested reconciliation or forgiveness or letting bygones be bygones. They just celebrated me, exactly as I was, without the weight of family obligation hanging over everything. Lorraine pulled me aside before she left. Your mother called me last week. She wanted me to convince you to come to Jack's second birthday party. What did you say? I told her that if she wanted you in her life, she needed to start with an apology and genuine accountability. I told her that showing up with a gift card and a demand for your apology wasn't going to cut it. How'd she take that? She hung up on me. We haven't spoken since. Lorraine smiled sadly. Turns out I've been enabling her for years, too. I'm done with that. I'm sorry you got caught in the middle of this. Don't be. You helped me see some things I needed to see about my own family dynamics. We're both better off with boundaries. She hugged me tight, and I realized this was what family should feel like. People who saw you, valued you, and chose you. Not out of obligation, but genuine love. Ending, I'm 31 now. It's been 8 years since the surgery. 8 years since I went no contact. Sometimes people ask about my family, and I give them the short version. We're not in touch. Most people don't push. The ones who do, who insist that family is everything and you only get one mother and life is too short for grudges, I smile. Politely, and change the subject. I learned a long time ago that some people will never understand that sometimes cutting people off isn't about holding a grudge. It's about survival.
I don't know what my parents tell people about me.
I don't know if Vanessa's kids will grow up knowing they have an aunt they've never met. I don't know if Mom's cancer will come back or if Dad will ever acknowledge that he was wrong. I don't spend much time wondering anymore. What I do know is I made the right choice. Not the easy choice, not the choice most people would make, but the right one for me. I chose myself. I chose my peace. I chose a life where my value wasn't determined by how much I could tolerate being hurt by the people who were supposed to love me most. Tyler and I are getting married next spring. Small ceremony, just close friends and chosen family. There will be no parents of the bride section, no family drama, no one who thinks they deserve to be there just because of shared DNA. Just people who have proven, over and over, that they'll show up when it matters. Sometimes I think about that empty chair in the recovery room. I think about 23-year-old me, scared and alone, waiting for parents who never came. I wish I could go back and tell her that it gets better, that she's going to be okay, that choosing herself doesn't make her selfish. It makes her strong. I can't go back, but I can move forward. And that's exactly what I've done. They expected me to attend a wedding after they abandoned me during surgery. They expected forgiveness, without apology. They expected me to set myself on fire to keep them warm. I chose differently. And I'd make the same choice again. Every single time. Call to action. If you've ever had to make a tough choice about family, or if you've found yourself choosing your own peace over obligation, I really want to know. What was your moment of clarity? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
Vas-y, je vous laisse à demain. Bisous. Bisous, bisous.